equipping leaders for ministry.
And we've also seen that there are specialized courses that were developed for marginalized groups.
And there is an increasing reach and relevance of TEE, and it's even now available online.
And of course, as we have heard, there is a widespread embrace of digital learning.
And there are deep changes in formal theological education.
And there are now even courses that prepare people not only for ministry inside the church, but for ministry in the community and how to engage issues of public concern. So, what does this mean for all of us? And we have identified 5 key findings that will impact how we do our work.
First is in terms of diversity, diverse forms of training. So today, there's no longer one way or one model of how to do theological education and equipping of leaders. So, along with the importance of gaining formal theological degrees, it's also getting a specific training for particular ministry skills that is available on demand.
And things are no longer in neat boxes. The thing now is getting more and more blended is how education in theology looks like today. So this means those in non-formal learning spaces are now moving towards granting formal degrees. And those in the formal sector have also begun to offer non-formal training programs.
So the need is flexibility, to be agile and adaptive, while at the same time being prophetic. So amidst the variety of emerging needs, approaches, and opportunities, the call is for a greater degree of flexibility and mobility in terms of providing training not only for present and future church leaders and ministry workers, but also for the whole people of God.
And this leads us to a need for inclusivity. What does that mean? It is no longer helpful to think of the usual binaries and classifications of both formal versus non-formal, on-site versus online. We've discovered in our task force it would be more appropriate to think of a spectrum instead. With some theological training organizations choosing to have a more wider or a more narrow spectrum than the others, and it all depends on the demands of their context that they are in.
So there is a need for more than what we presently see, but it also cannot be any less than what we have now. The need is so great, so we need more training.
And yeah, very helpful this quote from Dr. Bernard.
Yeah, in the New ISET Manifesto, it says, especially in regions where the church is growing and new congregations are being planted every day, our primary need is not highly educated theologians, but evangelists, church planters, and pastors with solid biblical and practical training.
And so what? That's the big question, right? So what? I think in our task force, we have discovered that we need to recognize that no equipping program, no matter how good and great, can accomplish everything.
And so we need to shift more and more towards lifelong learning.
And we can do that as we think of our context in Asia, and it's the key towards being open to change.
There's a need, seminaries, theological schools take note of in-between tweakings of the curriculum. It has to be an ever ongoing thing.
But of course, we need to strike a balance. We understand between identity and flexibility, especially of seminaries. We need to honor our history, legacy, and tradition, but we need to also consider how the young people are changing the way they are learning.
So, work towards more, not less, equipping and training in a new emerging landscape.
And so our task force is so excited to continue this listening, discerning process. This is a consultation, so those who have signed up for this task force, we want to hear from you, and we want to see more exciting initiatives happening in Asia. This will be a collective effort. And so we expect you to be a resource person, not just a delegate.
Amen. And all of you who are not in our task force, you can also contribute, right, Ray?
Yes, you can scan the QR code and it will lead you to a form. You can also say, there's something happening in our region, we want to say this.
Thank you very much.
Super.